to the Ramon Preston Show. I am your host, Ramon Preston. And guess what? Today we're going to be talking about income disparities and deceptions. Income disparities and deceptions. So please make sure, wherever you're watching us from, wherever you're listening to us from, be sure to get your pen, a notepad, some paper like I have, or another device so that you can take notes and you can get the game on income disparities and deception. So I want to give a shout out to all of our Millionaire Mentorship members. For those of you that are part of our Millionaire Mentorship program, I want to give a shout out to you. We are 12 days into 2022 and we already have some extraordinary testimonies, success stories, praise reports that are coming in. And so I want to say congratulations to all of our millionaire mentees. For those of you that are part of our Millionaire Blueprint, our online training program, I want to give a shout out to you. And I want you to mark your calendars, because next Saturday, January the 22nd, between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Literally, I'm taking an entire day and I'm going to be training you on sales and marketing. So if you're interested in learning more about the nuts and bolts of sales, of marketing, how to put a sales program together in your company, how to put a sales system together, how to put a sales campaign together, how to create a sales process that you're able to use for leads and for prospects and for current customers and clients, this workshop is going to be absolutely extraordinary for you. And we're also going to take time to teach you on the nuts and bolts of marketing. We're going to show you how to put a marketing system together within your business. We're going to show you how to create marketing campaigns that will not only get you attention, but that will at least guarantee some conversions or an increase of your conversion. So if you're interested in joining me and just spending the day with me and my team next Saturday, January the 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, it's going to be live in person right here in Buckhead. We're going to be at the Atlanta Buckhead Conference Center, the Marriott, right just up the road from where we are, literally walking distance. But we're also going to have a virtual class open as well. All you have to do is go to RamonPreston.com/event. RamonPreston.com/event. Again, RamonPreston.com/event. And here's what's absolutely even more spectacular. It's only $59 to join me in person and $29 to join me virtually. So if you would like to join me in person and literally spend the whole day with me and my team, you can ask us questions. We're going to walk you through some role plays. We're going to do some practical exercises. We've got a large enough room that we're going to be able to break out in different groups, and we're really going to get a lot of nuts and bolts of sales and marketing done with our training and with our role playing and with our practical interactive exercises. So for $59, you could spend the day with me next Saturday, January the 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or for $29, you could spend the day with me next Saturday virtually. So the choice is yours. All you have to do is go to RamonPreston.com/event. RamonPreston.com/event. I really want to urge you to do whatever you need to do to rearrange your schedule and to make this one-day event fit into what you need done because of what you want to accomplish for 2022. Now, why is this important? Because anything that you want to do in your personal life, in your professional life, in your financial life is going to be tied to somebody marketing and somebody selling, whether it's you or whether it's somebody you're working for or whether it's somebody you want to do life with or whether it's somewhere you want to go or something you want to have. They're all tied to sales and marketing. And so I want you to have the advantage of understanding not just when you're being marketed to and when you're being sold to, but I want you to have the leverage and the advantage of knowing when to market the products and the services that you have. Maybe it's just yourself. Maybe it's just some ideas that you have that you want to share with the world. You want to get attention, maybe for your church or your nonprofit. Maybe you're just looking to make an impact in a certain sector of your community. Whatever it is, you're going to realize at some point, if you haven't already realized, that it requires marketing and it requires sales or generating revenue. So that's next Saturday, January the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Go to RamonPreston.com/event. Now, I don't know what platform, what network you are watching me from or you are listening to me on, but here's what I want you to do. If you are not on a network or a platform watching me or listening to me that you have the capabilities of responding while we're airing and streaming live, I want you to send any of your questions to info@RamonPreston.com. info@RamonPreston.com. So if at any point while I'm going through our show today and giving you this information, if you feel like you have a question that you would like answered, or if you have a comment or if you have a takeaway that you would like to share so that we can share that information with our community, just send that to info@RamonPreston.com. That's only if you're listening to me and watching me on a platform or on a network that you don't have the capabilities of doing so. And if you are on one of those networks and platforms, because we're starting to spread out, we're starting to expand our scope, all you have to do is go and visit our YouTube page or either our Facebook page, because we're always streaming live from YouTube and from Facebook. And so there you'll be able to put your comments in the comments at the time of the video. Even if it's the replay, you can drop your comments or your questions in the comment section. My team and I, we always do our due diligence to go back to revisit it. Even during the live airing and streaming, we are watching the comments to make sure that if you have any questions that we can answer, if you have some comments, some feedbacks, maybe you just have some success stories that you want to share, we want to make sure we do that. So for those of you that are able to drop information in the comments or questions in the comments, please do me a favor. Please do me a favor. Please, pretty please do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know Prophet Ramon and the Ramon Preston Show is about to teach you some game on income disparities and deceptions. And so we like to get feedback from our community. We like to get questions from our community. And the truth is, especially when it comes to social media platforms, we almost always get questions on a day-to-day basis about holding companies, about financial tax strategies, about sales, about marketing, about business systems, and about everything that we do, whether it's through our consulting division, our coaching division, or our training division. So again, today, I want to talk to you about income disparities and deceptions. Income disparities and deceptions. So let's begin by defining what income disparities are, and then we'll define what income deceptions are. And I'll show you how income disparities and deceptions are either they are either benefiting your life or they are detrimental to your life. It really just depends on how you're receiving the information that is associated to income disparities and deceptions, and it also depends on how you are converting that information into something that's beneficial or detrimental. So what exactly is a income disparity? Okay, so again, if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. An income disparity, by definition, is an unequal distribution of income and opportunity between different groups in society. So when you think about income disparity, all right, I want you to think about unequal. This is what I want you to think about. Unequal distribution This is what I want you to catch: of income and opportunity, okay? Of income and opportunity. So income disparity, by definition, is unequal income, unequal distribution rather, of income and opportunity between different groups in society. Now, why is it very important for you to understand what this definition is and how this definition is either beneficial or detrimental to your life? Why am I even sharing information with you on income disparity? Why do you need to know that this thing called income disparity is unequal distribution of income and opportunity between different groups in society? I'm gonna give you 2 reasons why I know without a shadow of a doubt. I don't just think or believe it. I know without a shadow of a doubt you need to understand this concept, this thing called income disparity. The first reason is because you cannot conquer what you can't confront. You just missed it. I said the first reason why you need to understand income disparity is because you, ladies and gentlemen, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever it is that you have going on in your life, wherever it is that you want to go in your life, you cannot conquer what you won't confront. And that really goes with everything in life. I might need to write that down. You cannot conquer what you won't confront. So you really need to write that down. This is why you need to understand this thing, this concept called income disparity. Because if there's a such thing called income disparity, if there's this concept that's going on in the world that we live in that creates unequal distribution of income and opportunity between different groups of people, different places, different things in society, why do I need to understand this thing, this concept? Here's why. Because I can't overcome, I can't benefit from, I can't make a positive impact in my life from the very thing I'm unwilling to confront. And this is a big deal, especially for people that come from where I come from, because we typically like to suffocate realities. We like to brush off the truth. We like to just do things, whether it's getting high, whether it's spending money and shopping, whether it's wilding out or just enjoying life. We like to do things to throw us off from the very things we need to confront, because we feel powerless in terms of conquering them. So if you feel powerless, like you can't conquer a certain thing in your life, at some point you're gonna just check out, and as a result of really being convinced that you can't conquer it, you'll never confront it, you're gonna just hide it, you're gonna dismiss it, you're gonna overlook it, you're gonna try to forget about it, you're gonna block it out of your mind, but it's never going anywhere. And as a matter of fact, when you do that, you give that which you needed to confront and conquer even more power. So this is the first reason why you need to understand income disparity. It is because you cannot conquer what you cannot, or what you won't, or what you're unwilling to confront. So we've got to be willing to confront the facts. We've got to be willing to confront the truth. We've got to be willing to confront the reality that there is a thing called income disparity. And this thing called income disparity, it produces, or it allows, or it creates this distribution of income and opportunity that is unequal between different groups in society. So now that I understand it, now that I accept it, now that I have heightened my awareness of it, I can now confront it so that I can begin the process of conquering it. Because it's not like income disparity cannot be conquered. The reason why in most cases and for most people it is not conquered is because for most people it is never confronted. And so when you're able to understand it and realize that it actually exists, you're then able to position yourself and prepare yourself properly so that you can A, confront it, and at some point B, conquer it. So that's the first reason. The second reason why I know you need to understand this concept, this thing called income disparity, is because, please listen to this, and you've probably heard me say this 1,000 times. Your income by far is one of your greatest wealth building tools. If not, for most people, the greatest wealth building tool. Okay? This is why you need to understand income disparity. Here's the truth about it. Anything that relates to income, anything that relates to money, anything that relates to finances, anything that relates to economics, if it has the power or the potential or the capability or the capacity to become detrimental to me or beneficial to me, I need to have an understanding of it. Period, point blank. All right? It's kind of like just eating food that you don't even know what you're eating. It's kind of like doing things that you don't even know what you're doing. Well, whatever the outcome is, you're going to become victimized by the outcome. You're going to become a casualty to the outcome because, for starters, you didn't even do the work or the due diligence to figure out what exactly am I eating? What exactly am I doing? And what are the benefits or the detriments to what I'm eating and to what I'm doing? See, it's one thing to know you eating bad than it is to don't know you eating bad and you just keep eating. So when you eating bad and you know you eating bad, well, at least your conscience continues to remind you, now you know this ain't good. You know good and doggone well, continuing to eat this ain't gonna turn out good for you. But at least your conscience is triggered to remind you. But when you just eating and you ain't got no clue what you eating and how beneficial or detrimental what you're eating is to you, then it is by default most likely going to become detrimental to you because you don't even know how to gauge what to do, how much to do of it so that you can continue to benefit from it. Is that making sense? So the second reason is your income is by far one of your greatest wealth building tools. So listen to this. When you understand income disparity, you are then able to understand the reason for wealth gaps. So there's another concept, there's another thing called wealth gaps, okay? And this is a real thing. This is a real concept that exists, particularly in the United States of America. There are wealth gaps. But in order for me to clearly understand wealth gaps, I have to understand income disparity. I have to understand what? That there are things that exist that produce or that create unequal distribution of income and opportunities to certain groups of people or certain places or for certain things in society. So when I'm able to wrap my mind around this concept, I'm then able to what? Confront it. I'm able to confront it. And because I'm now able to confront it, I can then properly position myself and prepare myself for that confrontation. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a few moments. But once, let's just say, I prepare myself properly, I position myself properly to confront that which I want to conquer, well, then it makes it easier for me to understand why, quote unquote, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because there are certain things that are in motion that I was not necessarily aware of, or I may have been aware of, but it wasn't believable enough for me to position myself properly and to prepare myself properly to confront it. But now that I know better, now I want to do better. And so this is kind of like you properly preparing yourself and positioning yourself to become financially woke. Okay? So when you understand income disparity, you're then able to understand the reason for wealth gaps. Now listen to this, because surveys show, these are real surveys, okay, that show black families typically have 8 to 10 times less wealth than the families of other races. So this is where this whole concept of income disparity weighs heavily on people like me and communities that have people that look like me, and even those that might not be like me or look like me, but they're connected to me or connected to people like me. So let me read that again. Surveys show that black families typically have 8 to 10 times less wealth than families of other races. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. We've got to be comfortable. I'm not even gonna say comfortable. That's not the word that I want to use, because that's really not the correct word. We've got to be willing. I'm not even gonna say comfortable, because you don't have to be comfortable to be willing. But we've got to be at least willing to not only have this conversation, but to confront the truth and the reality of this conversation so that we can properly position ourselves and prepare ourselves to conquer that which we have made the decision because we're willing to confront. And so let me say this again. Surveys show that black families typically have 8 to 10 times less wealth than families of other races. So let me explain to you what that looks like. So you have a black family, and let's say that black family has a total net worth of $25,000. We're talking about a car that's paid for, credit cards paid off, $12,000 sitting in the bank. You know, they may have $8,000 or $10,000 worth of equity, you know, in their house that if they sold it, they could cash out with maybe 6 or 7 grand. So let's say the typical black family, if they have a net worth of around $25,000, well, what is 8 to 10 times more? That could be anywhere between $200,000 to $250,000. And so this is where you start seeing this income disparity and how it controls the narrative of this wealth gap. And so this is the gap. The gap, and maybe I just need to move it away from the numbers for the black family. So here's the gap. Here is the disparity that created this. I'll put ID for income disparity. So the income disparity right here created this thing. The income disparity created unequal distribution, rather, of income and opportunities between different groups, which subsequently caused or controlled the narrative of certain families that now this family, let's say if they have a total net worth as a family of $25,000, it has created this gap to the extent that every other family, by race particularly, they have 8 to 10 times more wealth, meaning that the next family, whether they're Latino, whether they're white, whether they're Asian or whatever it is, typically, these are surveys that show this, they could have a net worth of anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000. And that's just average. That's just the typical data that surveys show. So again, if you are, let me say it this way, if you are not a part of the solution, whether you're black or not, you are by default a part of the problem. Can we agree on that? Let me say it again. If you are, no matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're Latino, if you're Asian, if you're another nationality, if you are not a part of the solution to not only close this gap, but to empower all families and all communities and all groups of people in society, if you're not a part of the solution, by default, you're part of the problem. So let me show you how being a part of the problem looks before I move forward. Being a part of the problem looks like this. You're even unwilling to have a conversation about this. You're unwilling to accept the reality of this. So you could actually be black and still be a part of this problem because you're unwilling to have a conversation. You think you're going to drink the truth of this away. You think you're going to club the reality of this away. You think you're going to just work your way out of this, when that's not going to be the way to get you out of this perpetual cycle that has been created in a way that almost makes it impossible for you to do it without revolutionizing all of the things that you do. Okay? So if you're not a part of the solution, meaning that you're not willing to have the conversation, even if you don't have the information that someone like me has, because this is a part of my call and this is a part of my assignment, this is a part of my mission for life, even if you don't have the information, you can facilitate it. I tell this to pastors and to church leaders all the time. Maybe you're not into economics. Maybe you don't want to get the bag. Maybe you're okay living the life that you live, but don't suffocate your people. And guess what? Whether you're a pastor or a church leader, maybe you're a community leader. Maybe you're a pillar or a leader or an influencer in your city, in your region. Don't be so selfish because you feel like, well, we don't need all that. Well, you don't need all that. But there's an overwhelming majority of people who need it, or at least needs to be exposed to it, to understand that there are solutions to that problem. Okay? Now, for those of you that are part of the faith community, I want to address you very quickly. For those of you that are part of the faith community. Now, why am I addressing you? Well, first of all, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of faith. I've been saved for 25 years. I've been a part of the church for 25 years. I came straight out the streets and into the church 25 years ago after being saved in a trap house. So after 25 years of being saved, being an ordained minister, being an apostle, being a prophet, planting my first church that is still succeeding even with my wife pastoring it, having a church charter, a nonprofit organization that is successful, having a for-profit organizational enterprise that's successful, both of which and all of which are built on biblical principles. After 25 years, first of all, I'm grown. I have every right to address the things that are plaguing my people and my community. Let me just make that clear. So nobody has to validate me or endorse me to address the things that I know have become pandemics in and of themselves within our community. So the reason why I want to address the church and the faith community is because what I want you to understand as people of faith is that all of these surveys, all of these statistics, all of this data that I am sharing with you, and all of the surveys and the statistics and the data that is associated with what I'm sharing with you in terms of income disparities and income deceptions and wealth gaps, right? Here's what I want you to understand. They don't just apply to the typical black family, because when it comes to income disparity, when it comes to income deception, when it comes to the issues we have with the concept of wealth gaps, here's what I want you to understand. There is fundamentally no difference financially between families of faith and families of no faith. Did you hear what I just said? I'll read it again. These are notes that I wrote down to make sure that I cover and address what needs to be covered and addressed. There is fundamentally no difference financially. I didn't say spiritually. I didn't say psychologically. I didn't say mentally or emotionally. I didn't say environmentally, because a lot of times we like to use that as a lame excuse. Well, you know, I'm not living in the hood no more, so I'm different. No, you're probably worse off because of the mindset that you have. You see? So I said there is fundamentally no difference financially between families of faith and families of no faith. Why is that important? Here is why it's important. Because if black families are by far categorically the biggest victims, okay, and casualties of income disparities, income deceptions, and the concepts that are associated with wealth gaps. If black families are the biggest casualties, the biggest victims, right, of these realities, here is what I want you to understand. Just because you are a black family or a black person of faith doesn't mean you're not being victimized, and it doesn't mean that you're not a casualty financially of these same disparities and deceptions. Because if you do research, if you study, if you do the math, you will see, fundamentally speaking, a black family of faith is no different than a black family of no faith when it comes to income disparity, income deception, wealth gaps. I want you to take that in, because a lot of people of faith have a hard time understanding just because you think spiritually you're different from your neighbor who cuss all the time, who club all the time, who sell dope, who smoke dope. Just because you leave the hood and you move into the suburbs or to a nicer community around different families, financially, economically, you're still the same. Am I making sense? And maybe you disagree, but again, until you have facts, until you have surveys and studies, and you've done your due diligence, and until you've lived it and you're honest about what you've lived, you don't have no argument for me. But for those of you that are listening to me to learn something from me, I really want you to grab hold to what I'm saying. There is fundamentally no difference between a black family of faith and a black family of no faith when it comes to income disparities, income deceptions, and wealth gaps. Now that can kind of be, that could be good and bad. It can be good because at least it lets us know that we're all in it together. All right, like we're all in it together. I don't care where we move. I don't care how many scriptures we quote. From a financial perspective, according to surveys and studies and real data and math that has been done, there is fundamentally no difference. Now, why is that bad? Well, it's bad from the perspective that if you are a person of faith, you should have certain spiritual beliefs that you live by. You should have certain revelations that you live by. There should be certain principles and practices that you have adopted and adapted to because of your faith that will actually give you leverage and an advantage in any ecosystem that you find yourself in. If you read a lot of the stories in the Old Testament of the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, a lot of those prophets that God raised up who changed the world, who prophesied about things that we're still seeing come to pass in this dispensation, they were in Babylonian captivity. They were living in ecosystems, and they were living in dynasties and during eras where they were subjected to and enslaved by systems and structures that were out of their power and control. However, because they were people of faith, they did not allow the disparities, the deceptions, and the gaps spiritually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, environmentally, physically, financially, economically. They let none of those disparities and deceptions and gaps hinder them from living out their full potential. Okay? So it's very important for you to understand that. The next question that I want to cover is, what exactly is income deception? Now, I'm laying this foundation for you because I'm going to show you how you can actually conquer this thing that we are making a decision as a community to confront. And now, just in case you're questioning, why are you pointing out black families? Why are you pointing out what's happening against black people? Duh, are you looking at me, or are you listening to me? If you're looking at me, obviously I'm black. If you're listening to me, if you listen to me long enough, you're gonna realize I'm black and ghetto and intelligent all at the same time. So number one, I'm black. I'm a black man. So of course I have a heart of compassion for all people. But more specifically, there are people within my community of black people, and more specifically, black people of faith, because I'm a black man and I'm a black man of faith. I'm a man of God. And so there's always going to be this admiration that I have to really lean in and to help my people, okay? But that doesn't mean what I'm saying does not relate to other communities. It doesn't mean what I'm sharing is not beneficial to other communities. Because as I mentioned earlier, to my point, if you are not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem, no matter what color you are. So if you are not a victim or a casualty, at least at this point in your life, and maybe you are, to the things that we are discussing, you at least have to help facilitate these things so that other people can be educated and informed and empowered to change and transform their lives. And so the next question that I want to ask and answer and address is, what is income deception? What is income deception? Because obviously we are clear on understanding what income disparity is. So what is income deception? My definition for income deception is that income deception is a set of systems, a set of structures, a set of beliefs and behaviors. Please stay with me on this. That make it impossible to close the wealth gap. Okay? So when I say income deception, what am I referring to? I'm referring to a set of systems, structures, beliefs, and behaviors that make it impossible to close the wealth gap. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. Okay, so the systems and the structures are outside of you. Okay? These are things that are outside of you. Because systems and structures have already been built. Systems and structures have already been created. And these are things that to some extent have by default controlled, more specifically, the financial and the economic narrative of your life, of your family, and subsequently of your legacy. Are you with me on that? So even though systems and structures are outside of you, here's what I want you to understand. Beliefs and behaviors are not outside of you. They are you. I want you to really absorb what I'm saying to you. So I'll explain it again. Income deception is a set of systems and structures, things that are outside of you. And there are also beliefs and behaviors which are you, that make it impossible to close the wealth gap. So we can all agree. We can all agree because the thing that we gonna conquer, the thing that we gonna address is that, okay, there are systems and structures outside of me that have created things that control the narrative to some extent of my financial life, my economic life, and many other areas of my life. We can all agree on that, right? These are things outside of us. So it's easy for us to check that box. It's hard for us to check this box because we keep looking at systems and structures. We keep looking at what other families, other communities, other nations, other people, places, and things outside of us have done and are doing. We don't have to deny that just to confront and address this. Are you with me? So just because we are taking time to confront this and address this and work on this and build this and develop this, it doesn't mean we are compromising the reality of this. I mean, you can actually walk and chew gum at the same time. So while I am aware that there are systems and structures outside of me that make it impossible for me to close the wealth gap, while I understand that, while I am aware of that, while I am confronting that, while I am positioning myself and preparing myself properly to deal with that so that I can overcome that, I equally have to be aware. I equally have to properly position myself and prepare myself. I equally have to confront and address my beliefs, my behaviors that I, at this point, at least in life, that I, at this point, at least in history, have the power to control the narrative of. I control, not the systems and structures, because even in the Bible, people didn't control the systems and structures. Jesus told his disciples, hey, you better give Caesar what Caesar's supposed to get. Say, give Caesar his and give God his. In the New Testament and the Old Testament of the Bible, there were systems and there were structures. There were governments. There were hierarchies that were they were respected. They were abided by, and even Jesus commended the disciples for doing the same, right? But the beliefs and behaviors, I control the narrative of that. I control the narrative of what I want to believe. Because all of this can be true. All of this can be factual. And I'm just giving it to you in a raw and uncut version that, guess what? These systems and structures make it impossible for you to close the wealth gap. It's just not going to happen if you are depending on the systems and structures that have been created to control the narrative to the extent that they make you wealthy. It's just not going to happen. So at least I can check that box and understand this. And while I stay aware, while I confront, while I address these things, while I properly position myself and prepare myself to conquer these things, I got to work on my beliefs. I got to work on my behaviors because these are things that I control. Now, why is this so important? For you to understand and wrap your mind around the income deceptions. I'm going to give you two reasons why. Number one, controlling your income changes your outcome. No person, no place, no thing on planet Earth, at least while you're here in the United States of America today, no person, no place, no thing on earth can control your income if you are in control of your beliefs and your behaviors concerning your income. Did you catch that? So that means if you have $10 to your name, you can control, based on your beliefs and behaviors, those $10. Systems and structures can make it impossible for you to close that wealth gap, but not when you take control of your own life, not when you take control of your own beliefs, not when you take control of your own behaviors, not when you take control of the narrative that has been created because of systems and structures. At a certain point, you can be reading the book and you start seeing that this narrative is wrong. Guess what you do? You close the book. I'm not going to continue to read a book and believe a book and behave off a book that has one narrative to keep me a victim and to keep me a casualty to systems and structures. Now, it doesn't mean, again, that it eliminates all our problems, but it at least means I can begin the process of controlling the things that I can control. Ain't nobody making me spend all my money. Ain't nobody making me not save my money. Ain't nobody making me not invest in certain things. Ain't nobody making me do that. We good? It's out? Oh, you might have to reset it. Yeah. I think sometimes when people call in, maybe you could just like touch the volume or just click it off. My apologies, y'all. We running live on IG while we're having this discussion today. But if you agree with what it is that I'm sharing with you, I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to get questions on what we're talking about today. And I would love to hear what your perspective is. Maybe you don't agree. I would still love to get your opinion and your perspective because everybody doesn't agree with what I'm talking about. So let's get back to my point. Why is it important for you to understand not just income disparity, but income deception? Because controlling your income changes your outcome. So if controlling my income changes my outcome, then what do I have to confront first? I have to confront not just the systems and the structures that have been created to change the economic and the financial narrative and the wealth and legacy narrative of my life, but I have to control and I have to confront the beliefs and the behaviors that I have adopted and that I have adapted to that perpetuate and literally facilitate these systems and structures to keep me victimized and to keep me remaining a casualty. So controlling my income changes my outcome. The second reason why this is important, because it demands a few very important things. It demands that you start getting the right information. I'm showing you what you're gonna do to confront and conquer this boogeyman that has kept you and me and a lot of our families and a lot of our communities for generations victimized and casualties to systems and structures that we seem to have no control over. So you, my friend, you, ma'am, you, sir, you, bruh, you, sis, you, dog, you, sis, guess what? You have to make the decision that you're going to start getting the right, number one, information. Number two, intelligence. Number three, mathematics. And number four, practice. This is how you're going to be able to not just conquer income disparities, income deceptions, wealth gaps, and the systems and structures that have created them, but this is how you're going to conquer them. How am I going to conquer them? Well, getting the right information. What do you mean by getting the right information? Well, getting the right information doesn't mean that you're going to start learning about the systems and structures. That's what a lot of people do. So they learn about what the United States of America did wrong. They learn about what governments are doing wrong. They learn about systems and structures. That's good, okay? But getting information about the things that are controlling the narrative of certain areas of your life is only partial to you getting the right information to confront them and conquer them so that you can move forward with your life and legacy. And I think this is a very big missing link. Again, when I look at people in my community, the faith community, particularly the black faith community, I see that we have an overwhelming number of people who get the right information spiritually. So they know the scriptures, they know the promises of God, they quote the promises of God, they trust the promises of God, they believe that at some point those things that we as preachers preach about, we prophesy about, we make declarations and decrees about, they believe it, that it's going to happen. But the problem is it's only partial to confronting and conquering systems and structures outside of the spirit world. And so you have other people who get the right information culturally. They get the right information politically. They get the right information historically. And I'm not knocking getting that information. But what I am saying is, in addition to that information, that you're learning about the systems, you're learning about the structures, you're learning about the controlled narratives, you have to get the right information on how am I going to beat this system? How am I going to build my own infrastructure that is not dependent on and controlled by other infrastructures? This is where your information turns into intelligence. So I need business information that turns into intelligence. I need the right financial information that turns into intelligence. I need the right wealth building information that turns into intelligence. I need the right sales and marketing and business system information that turns into intelligence. And the reason why I separate information from intelligence, because you can get a whole lot of information, but it doesn't mean that information becomes intelligence. Intel. So when you are informed, that means information is forming. It is forming inside of you. It's not until enough of the right information is formed in you that what has formed in you becomes internal intel. Does that make sense? So I've got to learn and study and research, not just about the history of these systems and structures, not just about the nuances of the politics or the educations or the originations or the etymology or the philosophy. I've got to learn and research and study and dig into information about business and wealth and financial literacy and systems and structures and legacy, banking. All of these things I've got to learn about. Sales and marketing and products. These are things I've got to learn about, because the people who are beating these systems and structures know this, or at least they had big enough windfalls to pay people who know it. So if you are part of communities that have already been subjected to the perpetual systems and structures, you're in a never-ending cycle, and you know it cannot be conquered just by being confronted. But being confronted starts it, but it doesn't end it. In addition to confronting it, now you have to get the the information. It needs to be formed in you so that it becomes intelligence, intel. Once you are able to convert business and financial and wealth building and legacy building information into intelligence, then you need to convert that into mathematics. This is why it is a fatal, flawed mistake for people to not quantify success with numbers. It's a fatal, flawed mistake. When you do not quantify success with numbers, at least have numbers in the equation. What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is, if success for you is just being able to go to the beach every day, being able to get up and eat what you want to eat and go to the beach, but you ain't really making no money, you don't really have a financial scoreboard or economic mathematical position to really help a whole lot of people experience that, other than them dropping responsibility or some weird thing, then you've made sense of perpetuating something that needs to be confronted and conquered for the overwhelming majority of your people. So this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I do, because what I do, despite what people think, which I care nothing about what these people think, but what I do is a direct association to my anointing, to my calling, to my purpose in life, to my assignment, to my mission. That's why nobody's going to stop me. That's why nobody's going to discourage me. That's why it doesn't matter if people pay attention to me, if my people listen to me, if people that know me don't follow me and hate on me. I don't care. You know why? Because it's bigger than the 12 people who know me who just hating on me. It's bigger than the 22 people who just have this thing about me because they just don't like how I'm doing it. So what? All 34 of you can get together and have a bloodbath in your misery. I'm still gonna do what God called me to do, what I believe I have a mission to do. You know why? Because I am unselfishly selfish and probably selfishly unselfish enough to continue to do it for the communities and the families and the people who need to see that if you confront it with the right information, and that information becomes intelligence, and that intelligence can be converted into math, you can create practices that allow you to not only control the narrative of your life financially, but you're able to beat those systems, break the cycles of those structures, and experience freedom, quantified, mathematical freedom, so that you and your family can have a legacy. So I'm going to end there. I hope that you've learned something. Maybe you've heard something that has really touched your heart, and you're really thinking about, wow, what do I need to do, Ramon, to get this right information? Well, this is why I have put together my Millionaire Mentorship Program. I have a mentorship program, which is an accelerated coaching and consulting program. So I've taken all of my skill sets, all of my core competencies as a business and financial coach and consultant and trainer, and I have packaged it into a 1-year accelerated program. But I also have an online training program for business and finance, and it's called the Millionaire Blueprint. So a lot of people ask me, if I had to choose between your online Millionaire Blueprint and your accelerated coaching and consulting program, which is your Millionaire Mentorship, which one should I choose, or which program should I join? My answer is almost always this: it depends on how quick you want to get to where you want to go in your finances or in your business. It depends on how quick you want to start, structure, and scale your business. It depends on how quick you want to fix the problems that you're having with sales and marketing and financial systems and other corporate systems. It just depends on how fast you want to go and how fast you want to grow. Because if you are a do-it-yourselfer, if you are a person who doesn't mind getting on that phone, getting on your laptop, getting on the tablet, when you're going to work, when you're coming from work, when you have free time, logging into my university and study and train and watch the videos and go through the lessons and get the information so that it can become intelligence and do the math on it so it can become a practice, if that's just not where you are, or maybe that's not who you are, then you probably need a mentorship program that includes real people, real time, real coaching, real consulting. Now, there's a premium you're going to pay to have me and my team available for you, but guess what? If you want to get further quicker, you're going to pay to do what needs to be done so you can get to where you're going. Now, the good thing is, if you join our Millionaire Mentorship Program, you're also going to have access to our Millionaire Blueprint, so you don't have to purchase two separate programs. And when we have people who join our mentorship program that we're coaching and consulting, what we do is we typically direct them to what courses they need to track based on the game plan that we put together. So if you're interested in becoming a member of our Millionaire Mentorship Program, if you're interested in learning how to properly start and structure and scale your business, your ministry, or maybe both, it may just be certain financial dreams and desires that you have while working on your job, or working on your job and doing a 1099, or maybe you're a network marketer, or maybe you have a legitimate business but you need to properly restructure it, reorganize it so you can scale it. Maybe you're having issues with systems, financial systems, sales systems, marketing systems, corporate systems. You just need to learn how to become a better entrepreneur and business owner. Well, we teach you, we train you, we coach you and consult you on all of the above. So this is a very, very aggressive mentoring program because it's accelerated. So we're really doing all of what we can do to keep you on track based on what we set out as a goal and as a game plan for your 1 year in this program. But if you would just like to speak to me and my team on it a little more, to find out more information, to understand what you're getting into and how it can impact your life, I would love for you to text. All you have to do is just text the word millionaire. Text the word millionaire to 678-922-1963. Text the word millionaire to 678-922-1963. Text the word millionaire to 678-922-1963. And here's what's going to happen. When you text the word millionaire to this number, we're going to reach back out to you. We'll take a few minutes to walk you through over the phone a brief assessment. And one of the reasons why we do this assessment is we want to make sure that we know exactly where you are and what you want to accomplish, so that we can connect you with the right program, the right products, the right services that meet your personal, professional, and financial criteria. So we're not going to just talk you into purchasing something that really doesn't fit your criteria, because you're not going to use it and it's not going to work for you. And so we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to at least explain to us where you are personally, professionally, financially, what you want to accomplish, and then we can direct you to identifying with what program we have that best fits that criteria. And so once we identify with that program, we will give you an opportunity to sign up, to enroll. And once we sign you up and enroll you, we're going to onboard you. If you are signing up and enrolling in one of our 3 tiers that we have in our mentorship program, we're going to also schedule your initial one-on-one coaching session. So all of our mentees in our mentorship program, we start you off with an initial one-on-one coaching session. That session we use to help set the trajectory for what you want to accomplish. We help you identify what the systems you need, the infrastructure you need, processes you need. We look at your products, we look at your pricing, we help you structure all of that correctly. We put a game plan together, action steps that need to be taken, and then once we conclude that initial one-on-one coaching session, we give you access to our Millionaire Blueprint, where you will be training with whatever the courses that we direct you to and recommend. We give you access to our weekly coaching calls. We give you VIP tickets to our quarterly workshop masterminds, which we're going to be hosting our first one of the year next Saturday. It's a one-day event. All of our mentees get access to all of our quarterly events for free. You get a VIP pass. We also provide for our platinum members and our diamond members. We provide quarterly coaching check-ins for our platinum members, and we provide monthly coaching check-ins for our diamond members. And for our diamond members, we also added an exclusive Millionaire Headquarters Day. So every once in a while, we're going to give our diamond members an opportunity to come in for one day to work with us, to sit in with us, to go through the course of a day, to shadow us, to see exactly what we have done to create a 7-figure business. It's happening in real life. We show up here every day in Buckhead. And so it's not just some internet thing that we're doing that's a fad or a sensation or a trend. We're actually building a successful organizational enterprise, and our goal is to take it into 10 million and beyond this year. So we want you to be a part of that. We want you to get around people, be in a community that you can gravitate from, you can grow with, and that you can excel to your financial, to your professional, to your personal next level. So all you have to do is text the word millionaire to 678-922-1963. I love you. I appreciate all of you for joining us. I know for those of you that follow me religiously, I know today was supposed to be our real estate day, but I just had to continue this conversation on the income ladder of success I talked about yesterday, and now today, income disparities and deceptions. And I'm probably going to talk about this all week because it's a pandemic in our communities, and we need to address it. We need to confront it. We need to properly position ourselves and prepare ourselves to conquer it. And that's going to happen by getting the right information, allowing that information to take form in us until it becomes intelligence. And once we have the intelligence, we convert that intelligence into math. We start doing the math, the numbers on where do we need to be financially? Where do we need to be in our income to experience a level of freedom? Freedom from the systems, freedom from the structures that have been created to make it impossible for us to close that wealth gap. And then once we start doing the math and counting up the costs, our practices, our efforts, our work ethic is going to kick in, and we're going to move to that next level. So I love all of you, appreciate all of you. Look forward to seeing you here tomorrow, right here, same place, same time, on the Ramon Preston Show.